Hello everyone, we are back. It's a new year and we are finally inside the new sim, which is of course Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Now it's been almost 2 months since the release, and while I know the sim has had more than a few hiccups and a lot of people are having issues, I have not been spared the struggle. It's taken more than a fair amount of time to get a full flight going. Constant freezes, bugs and sim crashes, but hopefully we are past that now. I must say I never had a single issue with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. I know others did, and I feel like I was quite lucky when it came to that. But I've definitely had my fair share of struggles here in the new sim. I think we finally got a sim which is stable enough to do a full flight from A to B. So that's what we're going to attempt to do today in our first flight on the channel for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. We're going to be using the Airbus A320 Neo version 2, which, if I'm not mistaken, it's the same one as we had towards the end of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Our flight today will be a British Airways flight over the channel from Amsterdam back down to London Heathrow. It's a very short flight, not even 1 hour. We will use the built-in Simbrief Dispatch on Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, and we are going to be using the Inibuilds airframe that we used in 2020. I'll leave a link below the video where you can grab the airframe profile and save it in your Simbrief account. Now, if you have a Navigraph account, you can link your Simbrief profile to your flight sim. And to do that, you head on over to your Navigraph hub. Let me just pull it up over here. Make sure you got Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 selected. And right at the bottom, you'll see Simbrief EFP app. And make sure that's installed. Also, make sure you've got your EFP charts app and your charts in-game panel and all that other good stuff. Obviously, your AirX cycle and all of that done. With that done, and you've selected your aircraft. So if I go to the main screen, we are in free flight. So I've selected the Airbus A320 Neo. And we are going to depart from Schiphol. Let me just make it daytime because it's a little bit easier to see in the sim during the day. So let's do a preset time. We'll just go a little bit back. Live weather is fine. So save and back just so it's daytime. And let's go here to the EFB. And down at the bottom here, more apps. And you go to Simbrief Dispatch. Right, so if it's the first time, you'll have to sign in with your Navigraph details or your Simbrief details, and you can click on New Flight. Now, this is exactly the same as the website interface. It's just built into the sim if you don't want to use the website. It is a convenient way to do it. So our airline for tonight is going to be British Airways, Speedbird. Our flight is 447. Our departure is Echo Hotel Alpha Mike. Our arrival is Echo Golf Lima Lima. Alternate, we can leave it auto. Departure time, we can leave. Now here, I've got the airframe saved. I've also got all the Microsoft Inibuilds airframes for the A330s, which I've downloaded off their website. There's the A321. Anyway, what I do is I use the A320 Neo Inibuilds version 2. Alright, with that set, we can go ahead and continue with the rest of the flight plan. So we're going to leave the departure runway and the arrival runway all as standard. We're just going to follow the flight plan it gives us. Altitude, we're not going to do auto, we're going to do a nice low altitude. So because the flight is so short, we're probably just going to do maybe 24,000 feet. Passengers auto, everything else we can leave the same. Here's our routes: Volco 3 Sierra departure and Logan 2 hotel arrival. Your route is valid for AirAC 2413. There is the flight plan, and there is our alternate. Right, so let's go back up to the top here. Click on generate, and it'll say generating flight plan. Alright, so there we go, generated. Here is our flight plan. Here is our OFP, our operational flight plan. Now if you go to import routes, it'll say import Simbrief flight plan, please wait. And there you'll see the route is generated there. Now I will say that it might be a bug or something, but sometimes the flight plan does not show up. The route doesn't show up on the Microsoft Flight Simulator page, but don't worry, it will be inside of the EFB or inside of the MCDU in the Airbus A320. Let's change our departing runway because we don't want to start on the runway. We don't want to start cold and dark. So let's just get a gate here, maybe set departure, gate Delta 18. Now I know when I've done that it looks like it's messed up the route, but it hasn't. It still has the route inside the EFB and inside the MCDU. It just doesn't look like that on the main screen. So we'll ignore that for now and click on start flight. Okay, yeah, we are at Schiphol, and for some reason we can't skip the walk around in the sim, which I think is a bit of an oversight, because after the first 2 or 3 times doing a walk around in the same aircraft, it becomes kind of tedious, especially in the airliners. I don't think their walk around is very common, but anyway, I digress. So the only thing we really have to do here is make sure that we remove the engine covers and the chocks, and then you can jump into the aircraft by either clicking on the door or pressing Shift C. And here we are inside of the cockpit. Just wait a little bit of time for the textures to load in, because apparently they are all streamed. In the meantime, let's go over to the EFB. Now, if we're coming over from 2020, this is all going to be pretty similar, or exactly the same actually, as we are used to. First things first, you want to go to the options page. Make sure your Simbrief pilot ID is inserted there into the top. Set everything up to your preference. Obviously, I use kilos. IRS align time set to fast or real. That's another bug where you can click the sunshade right through the EFB. Link the captains to first officers, instruments, rudder controls, tiller, auto tiller, disconnect, use zero fuel weight entry. This is all pretty self-explanatory. Make sure you set it up according to your preferences. And then very important, make sure that you have calibrated your throttle over here in the throttle calibration. Over on the dashboard page, because you've inserted your Simbrief pilot ID, click on Simbrief to download your Simbrief flights. And there it is, speedbird 447. Our alternates, our departure, our arrival, our weather, etc., etc. Now the ground page you can use as well if you don't have GSX. I have installed a GSX in the sim, but we're not going to use it for today. We'll just use it for the pushback. In the meantime, we'll go to the payload page, click on Simbrief to bring up our payload. We have a max zero fuel weight, and we have 4.2 tons of fuel set. Click on apply load. Let's just do it fast. I'm going to leave the sunshade closed because it's going to irritate me. Let's just make sure that it matches. So we have 4.2 tons of fuel set, and we have a zero fuel weight of 62.8 tons. So that's max zero fuel weights today. And while that loads in, we will go and start setting up the aircraft. So as I said before, if you did fly this at Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, it is all pretty much exactly the same. The overhead panel, battery 1 and 2 on, external power on. We're going to arm the emergency exit lights, put the seatbelt signs to auto, no smoking signs can go to auto, nav and no-go lights can go on, cruise supply can go on. Let's set the ADOs 1, 2 and 3 to nav. Make sure all your cockpit lighting is set up as preferred. Coming up over to the EFB, FMGC. We'll start with the init page and go to init request to get our flight plan from Simbrief. And there it is, Amsterdam to Heathrow, flight speedbird 447, cost index of 10. Here is our flight plan. So we're going from Amsterdam, Idrid, Abded, so on and so forth, down to Logan and then Heathrow. Now our departure, let's bring up, now there's 2 ways to do this. You can do your Navigraph charts, which I prefer, or you can press the tab and bring up your EFB and go back here to Navigraph charts and have it built into the EFB for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Now I do find that this one's a little bit unstable, so I don't like to use it. I prefer to use this one over here. Simulator flight plan detected. Would you like to use it as your active flight? Click on load. And there is our flight. So we're going from Amsterdam runway 24. Let's just make this a little bit bigger. We're going down to Valco, then Idrid. Our departure is going to be the Valco 3 Sierra departure. So we're going off runway 24, so the Valco 3 Sierra departure. Above 2,500 to Valco and then on to Idrid. So what we can do is we can stick that in the departure. Runway 24, Valco 3 Sierra departure. and insert that. Once the irises are aligned, it says 6 minutes, so it's going to take way too long. Let's do... Oh, set it to real. Let's do instance. Let's see if that changes anything. Okay, still going to take 6 minutes. Let's switch it off and on. Whoops. Nope, doesn't change anything. We're going to have to wait 6 minutes. Alright, in the meantime, let's carry on with the MCDU. So we're going from Amsterdam, Volco 3 Sierra departure above 2,500 feet. That looks good. Then we have a discontinuity between the two waypoints. We're going to need to clear that out. So we're going to press clear so it shows up there and clear the discontinuity. Make sure we only have one Idrid there. Then Abned, Ibnos, Logan. Now we are flying offline. We don't have any other aircraft around us. So we can stick in our arrival, which I think is already planned here as the Logan 2 hotel arrival. So from Logan to Lambourne and then straight to Heathrow. So here it is over here. We're coming this way from Logan 250. Now we're below that 240. It doesn't matter. We're offline. Sabre 160. Brasso, Weasel, Lambourne, and then to Heathrow. So we're going to stick that in the arrival. So let's go destination, arrival, ILS 27 left, Logan to hotel arrival. Let's insert that there as well. Now we're going from Idrid, Abned, Ibnos, Logan 250, Sabre 160, Lambourne at 070, and then to final. Alright, that looks good. Secondary flight plan, we can just copy the active. We're not going to use that today. The RadNav page, we have Sierra Papa Lima in the departure. We don't need that right now. The Init B page, we have a block fuel of 4.2 tons. And we have a zero fuel weight of 62.8. Takeoff weight 66.8. Constraint deleted above cruise flight level. Yeah, that's for that one at 250 that we're not going to use. Okay, let's go and do our takeoff performance. So we're going to sync that with our departure. Runway 24. Takeoff runway available. Takeoff heading. The surface is dry. That's the winds 260 at 14. Outside the edge territory is at 5. QNH 1017. Our weight 66.8 for the takeoff. We'll do a flaps 1. Air conditioning will on. Force togo is off. Let's calculate our takeoff. And there we have V1, V rotate, and V2. 149, 149, 151. We could go send to FMGS and it'll send it there for us. And we can just confirm it over there. So 149, 149, 151. So we head on over to the performance page. Confirm takeoff data. 149, 149, 151. Flaps 1 up 0.5. Flex temperature 53 degrees. That's all looking good there. And that's that done. Right, we still have 3 minutes for the IRS, so while we wait for that, let's go ahead and set up the FCU. Sorry, my mouse is all over the place. QNH is 1017. Flight director can go on. Constraints can go on. We don't have a restriction for the departure, so let's just put some arbitrary number there. 1017. Put that flight director on as well. This is all nice and bright. Back to the overhead panel. Why does my mouse keep doing this? Let's put on all the fuel pumps. Let's get the APU up and running as well. So APU master switch can go on. And APU start. Right, there we have the APU starting up. There we have RS 2 minutes still. Okay, flap open. Let's go jump outside. There we can hear the APU starting up. 1 more minute for the IRS. Once that's done, we can get ready for pushback. Very quick setup here. Alright, while we wait for that, let's check our chart. So we got the airport chart. We will go from... We are here at Delta 18, we're going to push back, tail left, nose right. Straight out, we'll go along Alpha 8, Sierra 7 to, this is runway 24 where we are departing from over here. Alright, there we go. The APU is available. Let's get this out the way again. And there the IRS is aligned. Let's quickly check our route here on the navigation display. So, flight plan. Take it off runway 24, above 2,500. Then we're going to go down to, zoom out a little bit. Valco, Idrid. Just zoom out a little bit. Valco, Idrid, Abned, Ibos, Zaman, Logan is our top of descent. Sabre 160, Lambourne 070, and then to the final for ILS 27 left. Alright, that all looks good. Let's get ready for pushback and startup. So we're going to use GSX for that. Request, prepare for pushback and departure. Departure clearance requested, waiting for other services, GPU. Alright, let me just connect the external power because we don't need that anymore. This mouse is killing me. Right, doesn't look like anything's happening. Let's try that again. Departure clearance requested. GPU removed. There we go. Should have done that from there. Alright, KLM is fine. I need this mouse to stop jumping around. Alright, so while they do that thing with the pushback, let's go ahead and turn the beacon light on. Seatbelt signs are already on.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback. Departure checks completed. Bypass pin inserted.
Alright, here comes pushback.
Locking gear.
Alright, let's release parking brake.
Commencing push.
All engines clear. So ignition to start. We'll start engine number 2 first. So engine number 2 starting up. I forgot to turn on the APU bleed, so we need that to use the APU to start up. So APU bleed on. Engine ignition start. Engine 2. Would help if I was following a checklist. Alright, there we have N2 starting up. There we have N1 rising slowly. Where are you going? Stop there, stop. Okay, well that was a fail of a pushback. Luckily there's no aircraft around us, so set the parking brake. Okay, engine 2 is available, so start engine number 1. We're just going to assume that we won't have any issues starting that up.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Okay, engine number 1 is starting up. Not sure what happened with this pushback, but it's fine. We've got enough clearance to swing it around. We also have a whole lot of trees, which shouldn't be there. These weren't here when I did my test flight earlier. Must be some sort of scenery mismatch. I am using Flight Samples Amsterdam, which was for 2020. I just copied it into my community folder.
Bypass pin removed. Left is
Alrighty, engine number 1 is available, so after start flows, APU bleed can go off, APU can go off, nose wheel lights taxi, runway turn off lights on, auto brake set to max, ignition back to norm, takeoff flaps, speed brake. Let's do a flight control check, so just grab my yoke. So full left, neutral, full right, neutral, full up, neutral, full down, neutral, rudder, full left, neutral, full right, neutral. Flight control check complete. Trim we were 0.5 up. That you can see over there. Predictive wind shear can go on, and that is the after start flows. Let's go ahead and taxi to the runway. So we're gonna taxi lights already on. Let's release the parking brake. Swing it around. Just gonna give it a little bit of power, so get us going. I think this throttle needs recalibrating. It's a little bit late now. Alright, takeoff, auto brake max, cabin sounds on, cabin ready, spoilers are on, flaps set to takeoff config is normal, we have the TCAS set to standby, and these trees. Oh well, let's just pretend we have a pretty greenery in the airport scenery. Those trees were definitely not there earlier. But Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, I digress. It's probably not a bug, it's probably a scenery conflict, because I am using 2020 scenery. Alright, so where are we going? We're going straight out. We're going to take a right onto Sierra 7 and then onto 24. Let's just see if we can get it going a little bit faster here. Yeah, my throttles are buggy. There we go. So let's go around the forest. Alrighty, so as we roll out to the runway, strobe lights can go on, landing lights can go on, nose light can be set to takeoff. Turn on our transponder, give us some arbitrary squawk code, and we are ready for departure. Quick look, should be nothing coming, we are flying completely solo. I don't have any traffic enabled. Why does it still say TCAS standby? Alright, not a bad lineup. Let's go 50%. Night gets quieter. And flex. Yeah, throttles definitely need calibrating. Right, there's 80 knots. Can't set a center line, 100 knots. 120. 140. V1. Rotate. Oh, come on, rotate. Positive rate of climb, gear up. Alright, following the flight directives. There's 1,500 coming up. Nose down. Eaves back to climb position. There's a green S, so we're going to flaps up. A little bit left to where I need to be, so let's go a little bit right. Speeding up to 250 knots. Okay, pitch up some more. So we don't go over the speed. Alright, there we go. We're going to hold that pitch. Now we're going to make a right turn. There's 2,500. We're approaching the transition altitude of 3,000 feet. There it is there, so we're going to go standard. On both sides, standard. Let's continue climbing up there. 240 is where we're going. Let's just get back online. Alright, so after takeoff we can do landing lights can go off. Speed brakes. Alrighty, passing 6,000, flight level 060. Let's go ahead and activate the autopilot. And now we can relax. Alright, autopilot is now on. We are 250 knots. We're climbing through 070 for 240. Once we pass 10,000, we'll go ahead and turn off the seatbelt signs and the landing lights. We'll climb up to our cruise, and then we will pick this up for our descent into London Heathrow. Alright, so we're passing 10,000 feet, so let's go and turn off the rest of the lights. Seatbelt signs can also go off. And now we can relax up until cruise. Once we're at our cruising flight level of 240, we will bring it back and we will prepare for our arrival into London Heathrow. So we'll cut to that now. Alrighty, welcome back everybody, and we are about 40 nautical miles away from our top of descent. I don't know why I look so short in the seat there, or he's so tall, or whatever, but if we jump back into the cockpit, we can see we are approaching Ibnos, and then Zaman over there is a Logan where we're going to begin our top of descent. We just zoom out here, which is marked by that white arrow pointing down. There's 40 nautical miles. Oops. Alrighty, as we have already programmed the arrival into the MCDU, which is the ILS for 27 left, we need to get the information that we need for the approach. So if I go to my charts here, we have, I don't have it in here, so let's just quickly punch it in here. We got, I don't want 9, I want 27 left. And we are going to ILS runway 27 left. Alright, not used, so that's just online. So we're going to go Lambourne, and then now the MCD over here doesn't have these fixes. It goes from Lambourne straight to CF27L. So we're just going to ignore this little squiggly part here. We go from there straight to there. That is our arrival. Our chart. So let me just look at the ILS here. Our minimums is 277 because we need that. So yeah, let's do check destination data. We need to punch that in over here. So we go to the performance page. Next phase, the approach. The QNH is, let's just refresh this, get an updated one. So we have winds directly from the north. So we'll do 27, it doesn't matter. We have winds 360 at 3 knots. Temperature 2, QNH 1020. So QNH 1020. What is this? Temperature, oops. QNH 1020. Temperature 2, winds 360 at 03 knots. Comes in an altitude 7,000 feet. And our minimums on the barrow is 277, which is 200 feet AGL. And that's the approach set up with just over 20 nautical miles to go to the top of descent. Let's just confirm this over here. So we have ILS 277, which is 200 feet. And the approach, well, like I said, we don't have the squiggly part over here. So we're going to go from there straight there, which is how it is inserted into this MCD over here, like that, as we can see over there. Alright, good stuff. So our next altitude restriction on the approach is going to be after Logan. We're heading to Sabre at flight level 160. So we're at already 240 already, so our next restriction is 160. So let's just punch that in there, and that's what we'll descend to now when we get to Logan. Okay, so here we are approaching Logan at 5 nautical miles away. And as you should know by now, the Airbus does not descend automatically at top of descent. So we selected 160, we're going to push that in there. Now we're going to start a nice managed descent down to 160. I don't know why this wind noise is getting so loud again. Our restriction at Sabre is 160. So you see if I move this further lower, it still shows the altitude restriction at flight level 160. It won't go lower than 160 until it's past Sabre. So even though I've set it to 130, 160 there in magenta because it's an altitude restriction. If I set it back up to 160, you can see that changes to a blue color because that is my selected altitude. Alright, so as we're descending down to flight level 160, after that we have the next restriction, which is 070 at Lambourne at 220 knots. Alright, a nice shallow descent, 1000 feet per minute because we are below the descent profile. As that comes in by that yo-yo over here, you can see it's coming in. Now our descent rate is going to increase to stay with that. Yeah, this magenta arrow is showing where we're going to reach 160, and as you can see, as the rate of descent is increased, it's coming back to Sabre, and that will adjust itself to reach Sabre at 160. One other thing you want to make sure of is by your RadNav page, make sure that you have the ILS frequency and the course set in the radio navigation page for the ILS 109.5, 109.5, and that matches that over there. Sometimes I think it might be a bug, sometimes it's not inserted there, sometimes it is. So you just have to keep that in mind to make sure that you check that. Otherwise, your aircraft's not going to pick up the ILS. Alrighty, let's just zoom out a little bit here so we can see better. We are coming to Sabre at 160, and then it's going to slow down at Weasel to 250 knots, and then continue the descent after Sabre to Lambourne at 070. Okay, so we are back here. You can see we are just over 4 nautical miles away from Sabre. 17,200 feet. We're supposed to be at 160. Looks like it should time it perfectly. So as we cross over Sabre at 160, we need to continue the descent down to 070. So we'll leave that there like that. There, alt constraint star. 0.5 nautical miles at 160, so pretty much bang on the money. And we're going to continue the descent now down to 070. When we get to that little pink or magenta, that little magenta dot over there, that is our deceleration point where we're going to slow down from our current speed to 250 knots. After that, there should be another one to slow down to 220 knots at Lambourne. Alright, 6 nautical miles from Weasel, and the deceleration point for 250 knots is not for this waypoint, it's for our speed restriction for 10,000 feet. So yeah, if you check this speed limit, 10,000 feet, 250 knots. So as we pass over that magenta circle right now, the aircraft's going to pitch up and it's going to pull the speed back to get to 250 knots. So we are at 250 knots by the time we reach 10,000 feet. Right, so there it is there. So yeah, you can see the aircraft is pitching up. We're at idle thrust. And there the speed is going to come back to 250 knots. You can see our descent profile. We're falling above it now as we slow down. But as soon as we get the speed back, we'll pitch down again. And we'll catch up to our descent profile once again. There's the next deceleration point. And that's to be at 220 knots for Lambourne. Alright, it does look like it's struggling to get down to that speed. Speed error at waypoint Lambourne. Weasel, so let's help it out a little bit. We can use the speed brake. Alright, there our descent profile's coming back. We are still a little bit above speed. So a little bit more speed brake. We're not even at idle thrust, so it doesn't even look like it wants to get to that speed. But there we are, 250, so let's just put that away. Alright, we're below 10,000 feet now, so I should have put on the lights, seatbelt signs. Landing system can go on to the display. We are approaching Lambourne. We are 5.9 nautical miles away. We're supposed to be at 070 and 220 knots. So let's see if we can make that restriction. Alright, here we are at our deceleration point, so let's slow down to 220 knots. It's not going to make it. Just give it a little bit of speed brake here. Just help it out a little bit with the use of the speed brake. Now, unfortunately, my photogrammetry just seems non-existent. I don't have the best internet connection, but I was Pretty sure it would work anyway, but unfortunately it doesn't. So after Lambourne we got 2,500 as our platform altitude. Right, we need to set the QNH, which I said is 1020, and I mean 1020 set on both. Right, coming to 220, so we can put the speed brake away. We're going to continue down to 2,500 feet, where we're going to intercept the ILS. Right, still a little bit fast, but we're still descending. Not sure what this bopping up and down is, but let's hope we can get back on a nice stable approach. I think it's trying to catch the speed by pitching up and down all the time, so let's see if we can bring the speed back to 220 and that will stabilize it, because that's where it wants to be. Still a little bit above, but not to worry. Let's go ahead and just get ready for the approach. Yeah, we're coming up over London City, which doesn't look anything like it should for the photogrammetry. 4,500 feet for 2,500 feet, 220 knots. There's London City Airport. I wish I could get my photogrammetry sorted out. I know it's got something to do with the rolling cache, your internet connection. Yeah, it's unfortunate that I can't get it to look... Oh, there's the airport over there. It's unfortunate I can't get it to look decent when flying over London City. If anybody's got any tips to help me out on my photogrammetry, I would very much appreciate it. Leave a comment down below and I will read it and I will try it and I will let you know if you've helped me at all. I don't know what else to do. Okay, so through 3,000 feet, coming up to 2,500 feet, 220 knots. We are much more stable now. We are 12 nautical miles out from the ILS, and we can get ready to begin our approach. So, performance, we activate the approach phase. It's going to start slowing us down. So let's do that now. We're going to go confirm. And it's gone all quiet again. So green dot speed, that's all good. There's the localizer and the glide slope markers, and let's go ahead and arm the approach. Cat 3 single, 10 nautical miles out. I'm going to set flaps 1 and start slowing down. So flaps 1 is set. We're going to slow down now to the green S speed. And there everything starts making a noise again. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Alright, 8 nautical miles out. I'm going to set flaps 2 and start slowing down. I don't know why the engine sounds keep coming loud and soft and loud and soft. Okay, so we're on localizer. There's a glide slope, so we start descending. Let's pretend we've been cleared to land, so landing lights go on. I'm going to lower the landing gear now. Adjusting the cabin, I don't know which one it is. Let's set flaps 3. We're already way slow. What sign's on? Alright, set flaps full. Gear can go down. Gear down. Flaps full. Arm the spoilers. Ding the cabin. We have all green. 3 nautical miles to go. Nicely on the ILS. Right, speed is done, 1,000 feet. Once we slow down, we're going to vacate the runway to the right hand side. Okay, 2 green, 2 white, 2 red on the puppies. Leave the autopilot in, let's let it do its thing. Take it all the way down to minimums. Unfortunately, that looks terrible. I really wish I can get this fixed.
200.
Alright, let's autopilot off.
100. 50. 40. 30, 20, retard, 10, 5, retard, minimum.
A bit of a float there, but we're down. And brake. I haven't got a reverse button set up. Okay, well, we're on the ground. So let's slow it right down and see if we can get off this exit over here. We'll take this turn off right here. Let's just get off the runway. And we'll stop right here. And then we'll probably take a left and a right. Alright, let's stop here. Clean up the aircraft so flaps can go up, speed brakes disarmed, transponder off, landing lights can go off. Let's start the APU so long. And let's find a stand to go to. So, probably going to go come on. So we can go to the Terminal 5 over here. So I'm going to take a left onto Bravo, go straight all the way down and park 518. Okay, let's get going. Okay, now that we're on our way, let's just tell GSX that we are coming. So I said stand 518, eh? So gate, next page, next page, next page. .518 is a heavy, so I'll go to a different one. Let's go 516, 515, 515. So we'll do 515 instead. All the way down Bravo and up Alpha to 515. Alright, so while we taxi to the gates, let's talk about what we just did. I know it wasn't the best first flight on Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. We had a bit of a pushback problem. I don't know if that was GSX. And we had a whole lot of trees on the airfield in Amsterdam. But I do think that might be a scenery issue, although it wasn't there for my test flight. Other than that, a pretty straightforward flight. I think the sim has a lot of potential. I hope they work on it. I know career mode, I did attempt that. I found it a little bit tedious. I will be doing some more flights over there, but my main focus is the airliners in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So I'd like to see more work done on the stability of the sim. Definitely more add-ons from the community, hopefully a lot of liveries to come, but I do think the potential is there. I won't lie, I haven't bought the sim yet. I am just using it on Game Pass, so I haven't actually paid any money for it, which does make it a little bit easier to digest. I know many of you out there have spent a lot of dollars on this sim, and some of you even got refunds already, but I do think the potential is there. So hopefully we see its potential in the coming months. As always, I want to say thank you very much for watching this. If you learned something, make sure you subscribe. Jump onto our Discord. If you have any questions, leave a comment below and I will get back to you. Let's park this aircraft up and shut it down and call it a night. As always, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.